It has the worst humanitarian situation on earth, with the UN warning that Yemen could soon face a full-scale famine. Since it led a military intervention in its southern neighbour 3.5 years ago, Saudi Arabia and its allies have breached the basic rules of war. Civilians have been repeatedly targeted, with some attacks on schools and hospitals. A UN panel recently accused the coalition of war crimes.
So many people talk about Yemen as the forgotten war, but here at the UN it's not a forgotten war. We have sometimes monthly debates and meetings on what's going on in Yemen. It's an ignored war, and it's ignored because so many at the Security Council table are directly or indirectly involved and shielding Saudi Arabia from any criticism, and they all have blood on their hands.
Those countries include the US, France and the UK, friends of Saudi Arabia, with huge investments and trade deals. All three supply the Saudis with weapons. The UN Secretary-General has also been muted in his criticism, perhaps because of the country's regional influence and its cash. Here, Deputy Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman presents Secretary-General Antonio Guterres with a cheque worth almost $1 billion from Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates for humanitarian assistance in Yemen. Some at the time muttered this was blood money, but of course no diplomats would say that in public. So could what happened to Jamal Khashoggi in the Saudi consulate in Turkey be a turning point in Yemen? In the past, the Saudis have held a number of key cards that have protected them from criticism: their economic dominance, their regional influence, and the fact that they control humanitarian access by sea and land into Yemen. But by far its most important card has been its alliance with the US for more than 70 years, an alliance that's been strengthened since President Trump took office, with the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, building an extremely close bond with the Saudi Crown Prince. That's why the Saudis need to be very worried about what happens next in the US Congress, where the fate of Mr. Khashoggi has led to anger and revulsion. If members of Congress keep up the pressure, other parts of the international community are likely to follow suit, and Saudi Arabia's disastrous campaign in Yemen is likely to face much tougher scrutiny. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.